All right, so here we are officially. So this is it. This is the video. We have Billy Harrington,
Hello.
George Flutis,
Howdy, everyone.
and your host, Terry Keating. So Billy Harrington is the savior who eradicated at least one huge topic of obsessive compulsion with me, is the depth of the Thermogloss bass drums. So Billy, I owe you a suitcase of hundreds for itching that scratching that itch. Do you know what I'm saying?
Hey, it was something we all needed to,
Was it just cool as hell seeing them in person? Could you hear like choirs of angels, and was there halos that appeared?
Question for
it was wild. I mean, it was crazy because it was something that didn't really sink in until after,
Yeah.
Because they are just drums, but it's like this object gets to hold this crazy spiritual thing. You know what I mean? It was pretty wild. Yeah.
A whole lot of love was recorded on these frickin' shells.
You know what I wanted to ask you, first of all, is how much time did you actually spend there? Because I know in situations like that, sometimes you can feel like it's rushed, or it's like, oh, okay, I've got a half hour, and, it's almost like it sinks in later, like, holy shite.
Good going, George. Started from the top.
No, just cut that out. It's like,
yeah, you can go
like holy mackerel. There you go.
That's genius.
No, it's like holy mackerel. These are the drums that were on stage at Royal Albert Hall.
Right. No, that's what I meant. It's like it was just, it kind of took a sec to digest all of that and think, wow, that's amazing. I think, I would say that Paul and I, we hung out for maybe an hour or two, like 2 hours probably.
Oh, wow. That's
Did he serve you tea and crumpets?
He actually did. Not crumpets, but it was tea and cookies. He was a great host. He was so sweet.
Aren't crumpets cookies?
No, they're not. They're like a muffin.
What is it? Is a crumpet?
kind of like a muffin, right? Like an English muffin-ish thing, but not.
Yeah, it's like they're usually a bit more.
They're kind of more
bready.
Like they're more doughy. They're more doughy, and they're they're only about like an inch thick. They're like a top of a muffin almost.
Kind of like just dip it into your tea kind of thing, so it absorbs it, sort of.
I'm not really sure. I think people put cinnamon on them or something, but I don't really have crumpets. I don't.
But, well.
All right, so anyway, so you got your tea and cookies.
Well, anyway,
where were we? So I met Paul right in Newcastle. He had the drums. We went over them, and it was just, I don't know. It was an amazing thing, and I'm just really glad that he liked the idea of like kind of settling all of this stuff. I think that's kind of how I pitched it to him, because we had all done the email of, hey, what's the depth of the bass drums? And I had seen a bunch of stuff posted online and people fighting and fire starting, you know what I mean? And and I don't think Paul was really that interested. I mean, who really cares? People like us care about that stuff, but he's like, I have the drums, they are what they are and whatever. But I think he liked the idea of kind of settling it, once and for all.
Was that your idea, and then you brought that to the attention of Modern Drummer, or did Modern Drummer, like, how did that, you pitched that to Modern Drummer, obviously, right?
Yeah, so I had kind of basically finished the article before I went to Modern Drummer about it. So I told Paul, like, hey, I want to put this in print and kind of just get it out there, but do it in a nice, classy way.
Yeah.
Not just like put it on Facebook or a drum forum or something like that.
Right. Man, that's so great you did that. I'm glad you did. That's awesome.
God, yeah, you're a savior. I'm telling you.
So 15. That's it. That's the magic number.
So the heads were off, or the heads were on when you walked in the room and they were there? Did you guys take the bass drum apart?
Yeah, they were together. Yeah, they were together. Paul set them up because he knew I was, going to see them or whatever.
Tap on them at all, like just finger tap on them? Or I know you didn't sit down and start wailing on them.
Oh no, and that's the thing. I was like, I can't do that, But I don't know. I probably tapped them, but I wasn't really thinking. I mean, there's 60s 3-ply shells, and that's the thing. It's like the sizes are bizarre, and that's kind of what makes them like totally unique, But like the insides were just your regular clear. The reinforcement rings looked just like every late 60s Ludwig you see.
Yeah.
And they look to be in pretty good shape overall, too, right? Like
yeah. So they were sort of refinished at one point. So when the 14-inch tom was
all right, everybody. That's the no. They were. You mean somebody redid the outside of the drums?
they were sort of touched up at this drum shop, right? That Colin Fairley, the original owner of the drums, post Bonham, right?
I see. I gotcha.
He wanted to shorten that tom.
The fiver guy got the kid
fiver,
for a fiver.
exactly.
He sliced it freaking 2 inches off the freaking.
Right. So I don't know. So maybe, I don't know, for people who don't know, maybe we can condense this really quick if you want me to say it. But essentially, Colin Fairley, drummer from London, was dating John's sister, right? And kind of went by the Old Hyde one day. I'm assuming it's the Old Hyde. That story isn't really confirmed. But saw the drums, right? And this is probably early 70s, 72, 73. Saw the drums. Said, talked to Bonzo about it. Man, I'd like to have some drums like that. That would be really cool. John says, what do you have on you? He had 5 pounds or a fiver. And he said, just take them. Right. So Colin Fairley had them, gigged them around for a while. There's a kind of a famous club in London called the Marquee Club.
Oh, yeah.
And Paul Thompson I guess he had sort of known Colin, just as like drumming friends, I think, people in the scene.
Right.
And he had gone to a show at the Marquee that Colin was playing with a band called String Driven Thing. Sorry, this isn't really a short.
No, man, this is good info, man. We're eating it up.
Exactly.
Cool. So just edit this if you need to shorten it. But so Colin is playing with this band called String Driven Thing. Paul walks into the club, sees the drums, and knows right away who's those were, right? Because Paul's already a big Zeppelin fan, and he basically, just starts talking to Colin about it after he had figured out what had happened, right, and buys half of the drums from Colin.
Half the drums,
yeah. And Paul doesn't.
Right, I see.
Yeah, Paul didn't remember, but he thinks it was the 26, 14, 18, but he doesn't really remember. And then eventually, so he bought that for 350 pounds, and then bought the other drums for another 350 pounds.
How much later did he buy the 26 and the 13?
Well, he says that he ran in. So Paul runs into John Bonham at the Song Remains the Same premiere. Okay. I think it's 76, right? I believe so. Mm-hmm. And told John that he had those drums, and Paul mentioned that John kind of seemed a little remorseful, like, okay.
Yeah, that's what I remember reading, that he seemed a little wistful about like selling them, like he maybe wished he hadn't, but
yeah. And so at some point, Colin had a drum shop convert that 12 by 14 to a 10 by 14, mm-hmm, and also sort of touch up the finish on all of the drums. So
touch up, not like sand down and redo, right? Just make it little.
No, because when you see them, it's still, the color looks basically kind of very close to what you see like in Royal Albert Hall and some of the pictures. It's just slightly ambered, but it's really not. Some of those Thermogloss drums you see that are like have been in California, for decades. They look like orange, like dark brown orange and stuff because the sun.
And then that lacquer they put on, what do they make? What do they call it? They call it it cracks.
Thermogloss. It's a nitrocellulose. Yeah, sprayed hot.
Yeah, sprayed hot.
Yeah.
Illegal in 500 states now.
Oh yeah.
Why they don't do it anymore?
All the people who did it.
Looking at my bass drum, and the color isn't accurate here because there's like colored lights in the ceiling.
Bathed in an orange golden glow.
But this kit, the bass drum's got a little bit of like stripe kind of striping in the texture.
The lacquers. Yeah.
Yeah, but the toms are really clean, and you don't see much of that separation of the Thermogloss. Did his have that at all, or like that kind of striping effect?
No, there's no like spider web cracking or anything like that in the lacquer. But then again, like it was probably sanded down a little bit, and then there was another sort of fresh coat of whatever they use, shellac or lacquer or something like that. Yeah. So but it was all still in really good condition, and it looked really nice. You know, it was a good job. And what I was most impressed by was the tom. It was that the conversion, you know, 12 down to 10 was beautiful.
Did they take it off the top or the bottom head?
They took it off the bottom.
Yeah.
Took it off the bottom, and essentially, so if you think about the large classic
The
lug,
grass can stay in place.
yeah, it's got 2 mounting holes, and what they did was they cut 2 inches off of the shell, and then moved it up like that, right? So that part of the shell was gone, and there was 1 hole remaining.
That sort of filled in.
You can see from the inside was plugged a little bit.
Right. Okay.
But otherwise, you really wouldn't notice. I mean, they moved the reinforcement ring. They put that back in. That was beautiful. I mean, so the shop did a really nice job, I thought, you know.
Yeah, God, for the early 70s, you know, what would that have been, like 70? Did he do it right away, even before when Paul Thompson first saw him? Was it already a 10 by 14?
It was he said that Colin had already done the deed.
Okay.
What can you do? What's his name again? What's his address? Hi, you cute.
It's the only 12 by 14 ever made, you know, and it was unfortunately cut down.
Shite for brains, chopped it all up. Like, what can you do?
I've
state lug.
If anyone is if anyone is a fan of like random London bands or something watching this, and they happen to have a picture of Colin Fairley playing the drums, I would certainly like to see that. I have one. So
really.
Let me try to, let me do the share screen thing.
Is he 1L or 2?
To get a better angle here.
1L for Colin, yeah. Let's see, there we go.
2 L's, 2 R's?
2L and then Fairley, Fairley.
Oh, Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
So let's see.
Yeah, this is terrible. I've got the Northern Star above me.
Oh, here we go. Colin Fairley, yes. Beggar's Opera. There he is.
So here we go. This is the biggest version of the photo I could get. And, you know, it looks like a Ludwig Thermogloss 60s kit to me. And it looks like he's playing the 9 by 13.
Yeah.
Right, which was also included in the set.
Smaller, yeah. I think we were talking about like badge numbers and stuff, and
yeah. Can we talk about the badge numbers of all the thermos that you saw, Billy?
Sure. Yeah, and disclaimer right now, I'm just gonna say it. Like, basically, when I was hanging with Paul, my head's kind of already spinning, so I'm trying to think of everything that I need to do. Yeah. And the serial number thing was something that was a bit like, you know, I checked it out. I have pictures of the badges, but I still need the ID on, I think, which badge corresponds to which drum. And also, and I think at the time, now that I think about it, like, because Paul said that they had refinished some of the drums, or all of the drums, but a little bit, you know, it's possible that they took the badges off and put them back on. You know, I don't know. I'm not really sure. Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff.
It
gets Terry's goat.
He's going, oh no.
You gotta go take an ice bath.
Yeah. But I would think that they took it off and then they probably marked it or something like that. So
no. I mean, of course. That's. That's the thing about drums and drum gear. Nobody thinks that, like, oh my God, it's 1973 and this is John Bonham's, 12 by 14. I'm going to cut down and get struck by light.
Exactly.
It's just drums and stuff. You're right.
Right. That kit was a couple of years old. Really
all the badges start with a 6. Is that what you said?
Yeah. So they're all like 6, 7.
And
then the second 15 by 26 is a 7 digit number. So that makes me think that, I'm like very, very convinced that he got 15 by 26, the 14 and the 18. And that was it.
Like
and did
first.
all these dates.
Yeah,
and
actually, that's all you see for the first few months.
That's right. Yeah. Sure. And then right away, I think it's June, I want to say June 27th is like the last date with a 3-piece. And then the 30th is Salt Lake City, or July 30th is Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
So July 27th, 3-piece. July 30th is like the whole crazy, everything. 2 bass drums.
I can't recall right now, but I think in early July they played the Newport Jazz Festival, and I'm not sure if he had the 18 floor tom or just just the 18, or he had the 16 and the 18.
Wait, Billy, did you take this photograph that's up?
Yeah. So this is one of them that's in the article.
Okay, right. Okay, I got you. It's just so cool to look at it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great shot.
It's a great kit. It's amazing, you know. And Terry, oh yeah, if you want to flip back to it later,
yeah.
That's a really nice one to show kind of what, I mean, I think what was causing all the confusion. It's like if you see where the Swivomatic tom mount is in between those lug casings, you know, if you see that on a 14-inch depth drum, right, it looks really, really, you know, it's like congested, like tight. You know, there's not a lot of space in there. And if you see that, even though it's 1 inch, I mean, you could almost put one more bracket there.
Well, I used to do that same kind of like math with the PA, the 1216, the Ludwig cymbal holder. You could tell that it was that. I mean, it's the same kind of thing with that too. You know, they, like you say with the Rogers, it's literally between each lug, so it's a lot more direct.
Yeah,
there were certain photographs you could see from the side where you could sort of kind of do the math with, you know, if you held the lug up on a 26, you could tell it was deeper than a 14 because it was like there was still space on this side of the bracket and then a whole bunch on this side before the lugs even start. So I never even thought to look at the Rogers because I didn't have that much experience with Rogers, but I always looked at but you're right about that, man. Yeah, look at that, man. Holy God.
And then, of course, when you see a 16 by 26, it's like they look like cannons.
They do,
like
yeah, totally.
Between the casings.
But yeah, I mean, all right. So, but now, so you said, do you remember?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Terry.
Well, I was just going to say, out of the 6 drums that are thermo, only one of the bass drums had the 7 beginning, or do you think the 13 also started with the 7? No, the 13 you said started with the 6. What about the 16?
The 16 is the one that I'm like confused about because I have dates or digits for the second 26, the 18, the 14, and the 13. The 13 is a 676 number.
676. The 13.
676. And then the other drums, like of the main kit, is 673. So you know they're 3,000 apart.
So what I was going to say about this is while you guys were talking, I looked up a couple more pictures from July of '69, and there's no evidence of a 16 throughout July. Like
really?
Like Newport Jazz Festival, Texas Pop, which was I think August 31st. July 31st. So when you see the photos from early August, which is Salt Lake City, I think there's Anaheim, California.
Yeah.
And there may be one other that I'm not thinking of right now.
San Bernardino.
Oh, we got the double bass, you mean?
Double bass.
Yeah.
Those dates, there's maybe like 3 dates or a handful of dates where he had the double bass drum set up. Yeah. So my gut feeling is he either got that the second 26 and the 16 like sometime during July and then wanted to try it out, or he had it earlier and they brought it on the road but he never used it. But that doesn't make as much sense. You would think if he had a 16 and an 18 with him, he would have just used them.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. I mean, it seems bizarre to add that many drums just like randomly, you know.
Right.
Yeah. When you have them, it's like try them out first, but who knows?
He might have just been like, you know what? I want to try this. I want to try a double kick setup.
Yeah.
And I ordered it, had it delivered in California or whatever, and then they were like, "No way, man, that's not working."
Well, check it out. So the 9x13 is the only drum that has a stamp in it.
A date
date stamp, and it's smudged, but it looks like June or July, 1969. So.
There you go.
You know, so that would, you know, so I'm guessing, and because the 9x13 and the 16x16 have mufflers, And the 14 and 18 do not. They never had them. There's no
Not even
holes.
drill, just straight up mufflerless.
Which
So
is great. I love that because that's so like, I can totally see John kind of pulling a Buddy Rich move and being like, no mufflers. I don't need any of that. I'm not playing that game at all. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I really think that those other 3 drums showed up, and for whatever reason, he didn't like the 9x13 or didn't want to use it. And it's interesting because I was talking to Paul, and Paul seems to think that, you know, there's a chance that he had the double bass and was doing this kind of like, was thinking about doing like a Ginger Baker thing with having the 13 mounted on that left side 26.
Yeah, right.
2 toms and 2 floor toms.
Yeah,
we don't see that at all. But yeah, and I was wondering if you guys know anything about the Vanilla Fudge as far as what dates they play with Zeppelin, because I know in August they are, because there's at least one show
where you see Carmine, it's the same show.
Yeah,
Carmine is behind a kit, and you can't tell from the photos. I've looked at this real carefully, but you can't tell from the pictures really if it's a different kit.
Oh man, I think it is for sure.
Well, you know, Carmine really to me seemed to have a 15-inch rack tom. Like when you look at Carmine's big tom there, it's a 12x15. You can tell
bigger.
It's bigger.
It's kind of weird too, you know.
Cymbal, like where the cymbal stand is in one of the bass drums is a different placement, like off the center.
Yeah, let me try to find that picture, man. Let me dig that up while you discuss amongst yourselves.
Well, Terry, do you want to work on finding that the Carmine set? Because I've got a couple here of John playing his version of it.
Okay, cool.
I wonder if John just played Carmine's drums or vice versa because they were on the same bill.
All right, here, check this out. There's a good picture here, folks.
See, okay.
I got this picture here. Now, this is a picture that I finally stumbled upon later.
This is where his hair is kind of like swirling around.
Yeah, Ginger Baker. Carmine, a piece sort of looks like, he's like that a little bit.
Yeah, I think
hang on a second here. I'll show you. It's a direct comparison of the Dudesicles. It's precisely directly comparisoned. Where the hell did it go? This one.
Yeah, it's really funny because there's a
kit.
Oh, no, that's you got the Paul kit.
Ring of Fire. How about this?
Oh yeah,
there it is.
All right, now look at. I mean,
yeah.
You can tell that Carmine's. That's a 15.
Well, and it's got a muffler. And
it has a muffler on top of it. It's upside down too, because you can see the.
Right.
And a mount there. There's another photo set too from one of the gigs, and you can tell that the Ludwig logo on Carmine's bass drums are lower. They're kind of in more of like a normal position, you know, because the bottoms are way up, really close to the rim there.
Yeah, like crazy high, man. That's a cool shot.
Is that from the same gig though?
This one I don't think is from. Is this from the same gig?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I didn't think these were from the same gig. Do we have pictures that show from the same gig?
Someone was posting this. I don't know if it's on the Zeppelin forum or maybe it was on Facebook. But
and I know what I meant to say too. You can always tell a 15 versus a 14. Just to triple check, look at how the 15 fits into the snare stand. You see how with Carmine's, that snare stand, it's almost flat.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Whereas with Bottoms, it's up like it would be with the snare. You can totally see that there.
Nice. Yeah, good eye, Terry.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That came in very handy back in the day. You know, people, I'd be like, well, actually, you know, if Bonham had, you know, you could tell it's a 14 because the way it fits into the Ludwig Atlas snare stand, you know, because it's more baskety versus totally.
Right. Yeah.
Totally flat, you know.
Let's see. This is a nice.
Yeah, Busted. Bring out some pictures, Billy.
Yeah, this is a nice one.
Billy puts a picture of Paul Thompson like this, all duct taped like this. And Billy's like licking the drums, like, yeah.
This is that was posted, yeah, which is really a little clearer, you know.
Oh yeah, wow.
But man, I wish I had the Carmine set. I didn't think to save those because
is that San Bernardino. Top.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that looks very San Bernardino.
August 8th.
I wish there was bootlegs of these shows. There's no known recording.
Right, of all of the double bass gigs. And, you know, I was looking at the timeline. So there's so I've got the Seattle Pop Festival. That's July 27th. That's a 3-piece kit. And then the next date is Edmonton, the 29th, and I can't find a photo for that.
Yeah.
And the next one is the 30th, which is Salt Lake City with the double bass kit. And then it looks like that goes all the way down.
What picture came up?
There you go.
Yeah.
Is that Bob?
Food poisoning on the 29th. Where's Mr. Bonham? Everybody say it with me.
Are these uncooked urchin?
Bonham.
I'm sorry, Billy. I'm sorry. I wanted.
No, that's good. I mean, yeah. I'm sure Bonham was like, "What? That's poisonous? I'm gonna eat that right now and show you." Anyway, oh yeah, I was just saying that there's actually quite a few dates in there because I always thought it was 3 or something. But man, I mean, Anaheim is August 9th, and that's also a double bass kit. So we're talking from July 30th all the way down to the 9th at least. I mean, assuming that he kept that rig for all the shows.
Right.
You know, because that's what 10, 11 dates.
The Led Zeppelin website, ledzeppelin.com, has a timeline. And it used to be a really great resource for finding photos specific to a gig. You could go to the gig, and then off to the left, there was a column with photos from the gig. That's pretty much gone. There's almost no photos there. And I don't know what happened, like why they restructured their website. There's something wrong with it.
Well, they're also not easily, you almost got to go through all the pictures to find a picture now. Like they're out of order now. And
right. They go by year now, but it used to be you could click on the gig and then there was a column of thumbnails on the left.
God, you got nobody remembers that Russian Zeppelin site for a long time, like in the mid, like 2002 or 3. If you want to, they had all, it almost looked a lot like the Zeppelin site in a weird way. It was kind of laid out the same way, except it was all Russian.
No. Oh,
you know, and you just click on stuff. Oh, here are the, I guess the Oto means photos, you know. Each clapping is pictures.
Oh, here we go, guys. Here, let me share this with you real quick. So this is the Led Zeppelin forum, and I think George, you're probably posting in this thread here.
Yeah, I believe Albuquerque. That's right. That was another gig.
Right, and then we've got, and then Carmine's kit is right there.
Oh, get out of here! Okay,
this is the one that I was thinking of. That's right. I knew there was one.
It's hilarious because you know they're both in the tank top, and they their hair is cut the same. It's just like John is totally.
I wonder if they were screwing around, like see, Bonzo's has a cymbal mount, but I can't tell that if that's coming off of where the ride cymbal would be mounted, right? Looks like
the bracket's a little different. It's not like kind of basically center between the lugs.
Yeah, it's in a Buddy Rich splash type location.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Shite.
But there it is.
You can see that that's a 15. It looks bigger.
Yeah, it's
a bit lower. Yeah,
it's a bit lower.
The basket is like completely stretched out and everything. Yeah, okay, right.
And that's definitely taken from the same show.
Oh, I mean.
No. So I was just curious. No, that's cool though. But
it sure looks the same. I don't know though. I don't know if the guys have shared the bill. Oh, I mean, the post says that, and I don't know who this is. Thank you. Oh, LedZeppelin.com admin.
That's Sam. That's Sam. That's Sam Rapallo. He's the webmaster.
All right. Well, Sam.
So he usually, knows his stuff.
Oh yeah. Wait. Hang on a second. Can you scroll that up again? Let me see. I think.
Which one?
The comparison of the two pictures of one of Carmine and one of Bonham, just to see what. Okay. Yeah. Yes, I do think that's the same show because it looks like the same riser. And if you go look at the top, do you see that light above the amps on the bass side?
Oh yeah,
it looks to be the same, like the doorway in the light.
That night, they appear to have shared the same drum kit. Yeah. See, I don't think that's accurate though.
Well, they definitely shared the same stage.
I thought that for a while, but yeah, I don't think so. I might have even commented on this if you scroll.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, I think you saw this one already.
I
don't know. But
let's do else.
Sure. I just saw my comment there. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
George's like, you freaking pricks. That's not the same kit. What the hell's the matter with you?
So moving along, so let's talk about the Rezo head thing, because this is something that I really enjoyed. You know, I've always thought that there was something different about the way Bonham muffled the front bass drum head, and then after talking to you, you actually took it a step further and you made your own prototype, kind of.
Yeah. So oh, go ahead, George.
No, I was just going to say, so I followed your lead and I did it, and that's actually the result right there, which you could sort of see.
Yeah.
The shadow or the shading is more in line with how Bonham's looked.
Or it'd be whiter in the inside versus darker on the outside.
What a power stroke than the look that a Ritchie Ring or a Power Stroke would have.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's get some.
Billy, you want to maybe talk about like what prompted you to experiment with that? Because it seems funny that we both have thought this, you know, and we didn't know each other at that time, but you know.
Right. Yeah, you know, because it's like if you see you see any regular Power Stroke now. Sorry if I'm repeating what you're saying. I was looking for a photo, but
no, it's all good.
Yeah, if you see a Power Stroke, right, it gets more opaque or less see-through around the ring where it's got more material. And
right.
And I thought, man, it just looks like the opposite when you see some of these photos.
Yeah, like the inverse of what Bonhams actually look like.
Yeah, and there's one right there.
That's one of the best examples on the green.
Yeah.
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 But that exact photograph.
And so I thought, man, you know, I wonder if it's just material making it less see-through. And this is really nice because that bottom of the 14 also kind of has that quality to it where light is really going through it and giving it some texture. Whereas, right. You know, the center of the head is just white, you know.
Exactly.
Right.
So anyway, so I thought, well, maybe that is that. And I'm not sure if I have the photo from, where is that? It's like gosh.
So to clarify what people would be looking at here, instead of us, or people always say that Bonham or somebody took a bass drum head, cut the ring, took the middle center, like the donut hole, threw that away, and then used that ring and put it on. What we're saying here is that donut hole that they didn't throw away, that in fact is the thing that they glued to the side of the head.
The opposite of a Ritchie Ring.
Yeah, the exact opposite of a Ritchie Ring.
It's a large disc.
So the piece you put in is put into the center, and where the ring would be, there's actually nothing but the original head.
Yeah,
I could show you. The one that I did.
Yes, here we go.
If
there you go.
So this is the one that I made based on the one that Billy made, because Billy sent me a picture. What did you do it with, a 26?
Yeah, I have this here, so let's see. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, here. Oh, wow. Okay. Nice.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So that's kind of the idea. So yeah, it's just I took, and this is another smooth white disc that I cut from. I cut from a 28.
And yours looks exactly like it does in Bonham's, where the L and the G is. You have that laid out there, just like that picture we were looking at.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can we bring up that picture we were looking at and that one? Can you show?
I got him. I can do it.
Bring that up. The one that Bonham, because that's exactly what we just saw with that green sparkle, which is.
Well, you know what I'd like to do is just share this first.
Oh yeah, sorry.
This is actually the opposite of what we think Bonham used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could.
This would be the Ritchie Ring thing.
Yeah. This is a new issue Ludwig logo bass drum head, and it's the opposite, color scheme
of what it looks like actually with Bonham's thermal green sparkle kit.
The extra layer of material adds more opaqueness, so the center is still a little bit more transparent.
Yeah. Yeah, I see.
Like that.
Less white looking. But yes, exactly. But Bonham's in the green pictures and the Thermogloss looks exactly like the heads you guys are both holding, and you just showed on your on your gold sparkle.
Exactly, and it's also prevalent on the Thermogloss kit as well.
Yeah, both the thermo and the green, you can see the same effect.
You can see here. Here's the thermo. Sorry, Oh
yeah, perfect. Yeah, man, that's a great example.
Resolution picture, but
Yeah,
you can clearly see the same kind of thing where the center is more white.
it's white. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. No, you guys are sharp, man. I always was one of the robots that just went with the Ritchie ring. I did. I was just like,
And and I made mine, but because of quarantine, I'm away from my 14 by 26. So George was actually the first one to be able to try this out. And I gotta say, because George hopped behind the kit a second ago, and I thought it sounded really nice. So
Yeah,
George, you're saying it still rings.
Yeah. Let me just tap on it. I'll just tap on it here. I don't know if you can get a sense for how, and I actually tuned the front head down a little bit. I had it really cranked up.
oh, I see.
But I tuned it down, but it's like a boing. It's got some sustain.
Yeah.
But if I get back behind the kit, I could just kick it. I don't know what it'll sound like.
Give it a whirl.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is George Flutus getting behind his 24, 13, 16, 18.